So in this video, we're going to talk about a follow-up question I got to a previous video where we're talking about getting over traumatic experiences. This gentleman has been stuck in a funk for, he said, around 6 years after his wife left him. And he hasn't been able to get out of it, and he really wants to get out of it, and he wants to know some specific steps he can use to start getting back out there and really having a life again. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is if it's been 6 years, you definitely might want to consider seeking some professional help, whether it's a qualified coach or a therapist or somebody that can help guide you out of this process. You might actually have some form of clinical depression, which should be looked at, so make sure you check that out. Now, if you want some basic steps to get you out of it, I'm going to go over that right now. Number one, make sure you make a choice that you do want to get out of this. This isn't something you're contemplating. This isn't something you're thinking about. This is something that you're ready to do. I want to get out of this, and I want to take steps to do it. Number two, give yourself some time to do it. You know, maybe you want to give yourself 3 months to really start climbing out of this hole. If it's been a long time, 3 months is a good period of time where you can start working on becoming more social. And number four, make sure you check in. Like if I'm going to do this, every month I'm going to do a check-in with myself and see how much I've improved as I go along. So to do that, you're going to journal every day, every little bit of growth along the way. And at the end of a month, you're going to look back at everything that's changed and grown, and then you're going to evaluate, and you're going to continue forward over the next 3 months. You could even do that weekly if you really want to step into it, but don't do it daily. Okay? Now, the next piece is look at some things that you really want to do, some stuff you've always wanted to do to get out there and experience as part of your life. For example, you might have always wanted to take a martial arts class. And it's something I've been looking at recently. I was looking at taking a Systema class, and it's a Russian martial art. And so the first thing you might do is go down and look at Systema martial arts online, or go look at Systema, online. Next thing you might do is go to the Systema class and just sit and watch a class and ask some questions. And maybe you're not ready to partake yet. Just say, I just want to watch, I want to learn a little bit. Then maybe you make a commitment the next week that you'll take one of their free classes, like a free intro class to learn about it. And you take it in baby steps a little bit at a time. Another thing you could do is maybe just get out and take a regular practice of going someplace where people are being social, like the beach, and just take a walk around the beach, watch people being social. And then ask yourself questions. What would it be like if I was playing in that volleyball game right now? What would it be like if I was playing in the surf right now? And as you get inklings, take one more step forward. This is all about baby steps, a little bit at a time. So make that list of things you've always wanted to do, or things that you think would help to open you up a little bit, and just start ticking them off a little bit at a time. Start going, and do it in increments, tiny little steps. First, I'm going to go to the beach and just observe. Next, I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to maybe go body surfing and play in the water and and then maybe I'll do that for 10 minutes and get out and start expressing yourself a little bit more. Then eventually start working your way up to meeting people. Maybe you're going to go to social events. Maybe you're going to go hang out with friends. Maybe you're going to go to dinner with an old friend for an hour, and that's the first step. Something simple, somebody safe, and you start working your way up. Now, if you can't think of anything you want to do, that's a sign of some serious depression, and that needs to be looked at. But the first thing I would do is make a decision. What if I can't think of anything in particular I want to do, but you know what? I'm going to make it up. I'm going to choose something anyways and put myself out there and see what happens. The key here is consistency. So I would make a daily practice of it. Consistency is super powerful. Don't do it just on the weekends. At least every other day, preferably every day, do something to push your boundaries. Make it like exercise, where you're going to go out every day for an hour and you're going to do something in this arena, something that's on your list, and something that's like just a little bit beyond your comfort zone. Then the next day, a little bit more beyond your comfort zone. Now, when we grow, if you have a good coach or somebody working with you, you can push your boundaries a lot every day. But if you're working by yourself, it's easy for you to get distracted or take yourself out if you push yourself too far too fast. So it's best to go in baby steps, little easy steps you can celebrate every day. And so every day after you go out and you push yourself a little bit, maybe tonight you go out to dinner with an old friend you haven't seen in a long time, then I want you to write down in a journal at the end of the night everything that you've learned from it, everything that helped you to grow, even if it was scary, even if it hurt a little bit. Just write down, I did this and I'm proud of myself, and I did that and I learned this. And not what's wrong, not what you need to fix, but what you learned and how you grew. And so that at the end of the week, when you review the journal, you can look back on all the different things you realized and learned and all the new experiences you're having, or at the end of the month. So if you do this process and you stick with the consistency and you start with baby steps, you should grow quite a bit in a month, 2 months, 3 months. If you're still having trouble, then I would definitely seek that help I was talking about. You need some type of external help. Now, one more thing. I talked about this earlier. I kind of alluded to it. When people grow, they tend to try to do too much at once. A great example of this is exercise. People do it all the time. I'm going to go out and exercise, and by the way, exercise is essential and powerful for getting out of a funk. So I would also recommend starting a mild exercise program. But when people go out and exercise, they tend to do too much too fast. They say, I'm going to go out every day and I'm going to exercise at the gym and I'm going to run and I'm going to work out, and they push themselves and they end up quitting because it's way beyond their nervous system's comfort zone. The best thing to do is start out really small. Maybe it's walking, maybe it's a light jog, something that pushes your boundaries a little bit, but gets you comfortable. And as you get comfortable with that little bit of a push, you push it a little more and you push it a little more. So that at the end of 3 months, 4 months, you've really doing quite a bit, but you didn't start out there. And that's the key to doing it on your own. If you try to immediately jump huge, you really need a coach to hold you accountable. You really need somebody to stand over you to hold you accountable, because your nervous system, that part of your body that always tries to get you back to your knowns, get you back to what you're used to, is gonna do everything it can to get you back in your knowns. And without a coach, it's gonna have a distinct advantage over convincing you to stop. And pretty soon you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna do this today. And then it turns into, I'm not gonna do this tomorrow. And then a week later, you're like, oh, I haven't done it all week. What's the point? So again, consistency, baby steps, a little bit at a time, putting yourself out there, taking action. And if you wanna really understand the power of consistency, which is one of the most powerful success tools in the world, I highly recommend a book called The Slight Edge, by Jeff Olson. And he's a multimillionaire. He's known as the Millionaire Maker. And he says that money is primarily made through consistent, tiny, simple actions done every day that most people ignore is unimportant or innocuous. And that we even do the opposite. We do consistent, tiny little actions that take us downhill every day, and that's why most people end up in a funk, because they're doing the opposite of that. And with a simple understanding of how this principle works, how it works within compounding interest, just like building a bank account, you'll see how in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, especially a year, you can change a huge part of your life. So I highly recommend you read that book. So with this said, I would love to hear more about what you think. Definitely comment below. We love to get your comments. We love to respond to them, like in this video. So it's really important that we are working and engaging with you and knowing exactly what you want. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, because this channel is really for you. And check out the website, thefearlessman.com. And with all that said, I'll see you in the next video. And remember, only the confident really live. The more solid you are, probably the more tests you're going to get, potentially. What the difference is that as you get better at tests, you move through them faster. The analogy I like to give is driving a car. When you're driving a car down the street, if you hold the steering wheel perfectly straight, a whole more joy, opening your heart, connecting to people more. So I want to invite you into this idea that you can do work on yourself. There's a lot of great systems out there for that. And there's a lot of great systems we use, and I encourage people to do daily work on this stuff themselves, to learn to create their own container and develop it over time.